Okay, the time is 7:36. I'll call this regular business and public hearing of the mayor and council to order. Today is June 9th, 2014. All members of the mayor and council are present. First, tonight for the invocation, in lieu of an invocation, I'll ask that we have a moment of silence for Javid Bagari, who is the son of Carol Bagari and the brother of Avid, who operate the Gwinnett Citizen, and many of us know have always been great community supporters. So if we could have a moment of silence for their family. Thank you. Now for tonight's announcements. The June 10th Board of Appeals meeting has been canceled. On June 13th, we will be celebrating Flag Day here in the city of Snellville. We'll have a ceremony at 10 a.m. at City Hall in the front lawn. The public is invited to come and join us. On June 16th, there will be a Snellville Public Arts Commission meeting at 6:30 p.m. here at City Hall in the community room. On June 22nd, you can watch a rebroadcast of this council meeting on Comcast Channel 25 at 6:30 p.m. Our June 23rd council meeting has been canceled. Mayor and council will be away at the GMA annual conference in Savannah. June 24th, we'll have a planning commission meeting here at City Hall with a 6:30 p.m. work session and a 7:30 p.m. meeting. July 4th, City Hall and all city offices will be closed, including the Recycling Center, in celebration of the Independence Day holiday. Emergency services and garbage pickup will operate as usual. The July 8th Board of Appeals meeting has been canceled. On July 11th, if you want to donate blood, you can come to the blood drive from 1:30 to 6:30 p.m. here at City Hall in the community room. To learn more about blood donation opportunities, visit www.redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS. Our next regular council meeting will be July 14th in City Hall, 6:30 p.m. work session in the conference room, and a 7:30 p.m. meeting here in the council chambers. That concludes our announcements. Now for our pledge to the flag. We have a Boy Scout with us tonight, David Dutton, if he would come forward to lead us in tonight's pledge.
Everybody please stand up, hands over your hearts. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, David. That brings us to ceremonial matters. We first have a special proclamation tonight. This is Proclamation 2014-05, honoring the retirement of Mac Brannon, Battalion Chief, Gwinnett County Department of Fire and Emergency Services. Whereas Mac Brannon was hired as a firefighter for Gwinnett County on November 15, 1982, and became a certified paramedic in 1994. Whereas Mac was promoted to lieutenant of the Gwinnett County Fire Department on March 16, 2002, and became a medical supervisor in 2006, responsible for the southern half of Gwinnett County. Whereas Mac was promoted to captain of Station 22 in the Gwinnett County Fire Department on September 19, 2009. Whereas through his service, Mac helped distressed citizens of Gwinnett County and the city of Snellville through fires, snowstorms, and the Great Flood of 2009. Whereas Mac received the rank of Battalion Chief on January 6, 2012, where he served the Snellville area until his retirement on May 23rd of this year. Whereas firefighters perform a vital public service and are recognized as heroic individuals who define the true meaning of valor and selflessness. Whereas every time firefighters answer the alarm and speed off to combat a fire, each of us has a greater sense of security, knowing these men and women are well prepared to battle blazes, large and small. Whereas firefighters exemplify the highest level of public service, both through their courage and their commitment to the highest standards of professionalism, maintained through frequent training and retraining. Where it is appropriate for elected officials to celebrate the day-to-day heroism of all firefighters and express gratitude to the remarkable people who proudly wear the firefighter's uniform. Whereas Mac Brannon gave over 31 years of his life in service to the citizens of Gwinnett County and the city of Snellville through his dedication and commitment to the fire department. Now therefore, I, Kelly D. Couts, Mayor of the city of Snellville, where everybody is somebody, on behalf of the city do hereby proclaim that Mac Brannon is a community hero and well deserving of our gratitude, admiration, and respect. Do hereby join the citizens of Snellville in expressing our appreciation and thanks to Mac Brannon for his loyal, dedicated, and selfless service to our community. I extend my personal best wishes to him upon his retirement and for continued success in life's pursuits. Finally, I proclaim this day to be Mac Brannon Day in the city of Snellville. Proclaimed this 9th day of June, 2014. Mac, we want to thank you for your service and for being a great citizen of the city of Snellville. And I'm sure being the type of guy he is, Mac would tell you he couldn't have done it without his family, his wife and his 2 children. So thank y'all for being here as well. We now have under ceremonial matters, this is National Caribbean American Heritage Month, and we'd like to recognize that in the city of Snellville for June 2014. I want to invite Carol Maldonado Hall to come forward and give us some information.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Good evening. This year marks the 9th anniversary of National Caribbean American Heritage Month. In June 2005, the House of Representatives unanimously adopted Resolution 71, sponsored by Congresswoman Barbara Lee, recognizing the significance of Caribbean people and their descendants in the history and culture of the United States. On February 14, 2006, the resolution similarly passed the Senate, culminating a 2-year bipartisan and bicameral effort. Since the declaration, the White House has issued an annual proclamation recognizing June as Caribbean American Heritage Month. This year marks the 8th anniversary of June as National Caribbean American Heritage Month. The campaign to designate June as National Caribbean American Heritage Month was spearheaded by Dr. Claire Nelson, founder and president of the Institute of Caribbean Studies. Through the commemoration of this month, we hope to ensure that America is reminded that its greatness lies in its diversity, with Caribbean immigrants from founding father Alexander Hamilton to journalist Malcolm Gladwell, who have shaped the American dream. I would like to thank the Mayor and the City Council of Snellville on behalf of the Caribbean American citizens, residents of the City of Snellville, for recognizing Caribbean American Heritage Month. And here is the Presidential Proclamation for National Caribbean American Heritage Month 2014 by the President of the United States of America, a proclamation. Caribbean Americans are part of a great national tradition, descendants of hopeful, striving people who journeyed to our lands in search of a better life. They were drawn by a belief in the power of opportunity, a belief that through hard work and sacrifice, they could provide their children with chances they had never known. Thanks to these opportunities and their talent and perseverance, Caribbean Americans have contributed to every aspect of our society, from science and medicine to business and the arts. During National Caribbean American Heritage Month, we honor their history, culture, and essential role in the American narrative. It is also a time to renew our friendship with our Caribbean neighbors, with whom we share both an ocean and a history. To this end, the United States is expanding cooperation with our Caribbean partners as we promote social justice, grow prosperity throughout the Americas, and create new educational opportunities for young people across the Caribbean basin, as well as for Caribbean Americans in our own communities. We are also working to advance common sense immigration reform that will allow future generations of Caribbean Americans to share their talents with our nation. As America celebrates our Caribbean heritage, let us hold fast to the spirit that makes our country a beacon to the world. This month, let us remember that we are always at our best when we focus not on what we can tear down, but on what we can build up. And together, let us strengthen the bonds that hold together the most diverse nation on earth. Now, therefore, I, Barack Obama, President of the United States of America, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim June 2014 as National Caribbean American Heritage Month. I encourage all Americans to celebrate the history and culture of Caribbean Americans with appropriate ceremonies and activities. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 13th day of May in the year of our Lord 2014, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 238th. Barack Obama. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And not that it needs to be done, but so as mayor of the city of Snellville, I will declare that June 2014 be National Caribbean American Heritage Month, not National Caribbean American Heritage Month here in the city of Snellville. It was Carol's goal and my goal this year to try to raise awareness of this month, and hopefully next year we can plan some events here in the city of Snellville in honor of Caribbean American Heritage Month for June next year. So if anyone would be interested in helping with that, please let us know, because that is our goal for next year, to raise more awareness.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may as well, ma'am, we also, the Snellville Tourism and Trade does an Around the World in Snellville festival. I don't, are you familiar with that?
Yes, I volunteered last year.
Okay, great, because just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. I think it's September
Yes.
this year, to make sure that,
We have some Caribbean groups that will be participating this
Excellent.
year as well.
very good,
And
thank you.
participated last year as well.
Good.
Will that be all?
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That now brings us to our minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the May 7th, 2014 specially called work session and the May 12th, 2014 regular business and public hearing meeting?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Howard. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. 6 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. The minutes stand approved. We have no invited guests tonight. Now for our committee and department reports, we have Nick Kirkland with our Urban Redevelopment Authority, agency here to give us a report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As required by the bylaws of the Urban Redevelopment Agency and the official code of Georgia, the following is the annual report from our agency. During the past year, the members of the UAR attended a training session at the University of Georgia sponsored by the Carl Vinson Institute of Government and the Georgia Municipal Association. We also attended the Gwinnett Municipal Association meeting in March in Beaufort. During the past year, the URA was the conduit for the refinancing of the City Hall and paying off of the COPS funding with the assistance of Raymond James and Associates during the past fiscal year. The UGA team that has been studying the Town Center project has presented their findings and recommendations to the UAR and the DDA, and we're awaiting their final written report to be submitted for further consideration. In March of this year, the URA, DDA, and STAT sponsored a Robert's Rules of Order seminar for all city boards and employees that wanted to attend to assist them in the proper procedures when conducting meetings. It was well attended and very informative for everyone that was there. The bylaws of the URA were updated in cooperation with the city attorney this past year to assure that we had no conflicts with the official code of Georgia and the city of Snellville codes. The URA has also reviewed applications from Snellville citizens who have indicated that they would be interested in serving on city boards and agencies, and we've forwarded our input from these applications to the Economic Development Manager. Presently, the URA has one unfilled position on our board, and we have been actively searching for someone that we could recommend to mayor and council for consideration for this appointment. The URA is also looking at funding for redevelopment projects for the city from both private and public sources so that we can that could be leveraged for redevelopment public infrastructure. In May, we held our first planning session. Jim O'Brien, manager of retail and commercial development for Georgia EMC, facilitated the meeting on behalf of Walton EMC. Eric Van Otteren also assisted in an advisory capacity. The purpose of the meeting was to create a mission statement for the URA and to develop a scope of work to guide the activities and actions of our agency based on the city redevelopment plan. I have attached to the annual report, which I will give a summary to each of you of our planning session, which enumerates the goals we have discussed that we hope to implement at our next agency meeting, which will be on June 19th. And that is my report. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to take them.
Questions for Mr. Kirkland?
Mr. Kirkland, not really a question, just commendation for all the hard work that the URA. It's like it's completely like new life, and I know that everybody within that group is excited about some of the things that's going on, and I just want to make sure you extend my thanks to your entire board.
I will do that at our next meeting.
Mr. Kirkland, this is not really directed at you as much as it is at staff, but if council could get a copy of the new URA bylaws and the report, I guess, is there an actual written report from the University of Georgia?
It has not. I don't think that has been received by the city yet. They have been the actual part of the work committee that was on that all graduated this time.
Okay.
So I think it's going to take a little while before that report is actually given to us.
If the mayor and council then could get a copy of the updated bylaws and the mission statement, and if there's been any recommendations made by the URA for appointments, if Mr. Van Otten could forward those to myself.
All right, I'll do that. I'll see that happens.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay, that concludes our committee and department reports. We have no consent agenda. Under old business, we have public hearing. Item A, second reading on the consideration and action on ordinance for the adoption of the operating and capital improvement budget for fiscal year 2015. Mr. Sam.
Mayor and Council, we have the proposed FY 2015 operating budget for your approval this evening. This is a document which we have held a budget hearing on and had internal mayor and council meetings. And I just wanted to go over some of the high points in this budget proposal for the public as well as the mayor and council. Our largest revenue source comes from our property tax digest. It's very important that digest be growing. We haven't done real well lately. If you look at these numbers up here, in 2008, our City of Snellville tax digest was $851 million. Next year, it's scheduled to be $660 million. That's something that every government has had to deal with since the recession hit. But I can tell you that there's some good news on the horizon, I believe. As we talked in the work session, we do not have this year's tax digest currently. We'll receive it towards the end of June, but I am projecting a 2% increase this year, which will be the first increase probably since 2006 or 2007. That bodes well, I think, for the future, and so do some other numbers in here. I'm anticipating in this budget, although the mayor and council will not set the millage rate until after the digest is received, I'm anticipating no increase in tax millage, no levy increase for 2015. Some of the high points in the budget itself. Know that this budget is about a 1.1% increase over last year's budget. Not a big increase, but slightly up. There is zero prior year surplus. In the last three budgets, there have been line items that have budgeted some fund balance as a prior year surplus. This year, that's not in there. That's good news. There is some money, we have, with the help of Mr. Davis beforehand and Mr. Thompson now and John Dennis, the Planning Commission, the Planning and Development staff, working with Judge Lang in Municipal Court, we've made some headway on cleaning up some blighted properties, quality of life, code enforcement issues. With Public Works Department help, we just cleaned up a property on Hampton Ridge last year. And I think last year we budgeted $30,000 for a demolition. It put some pressure on people. A lot of folks came in and said, what can I do? We've got a couple houses that have been greatly improved in the Governor's Walk subdivision. We have a lot more to go. We're just hitting the tip of the iceberg, but I'm asking the mayor and council to include $30,000 this year to maintain that pressure on homeowners and property owners to keep their property up. LCI completion. I know you're probably tired of hearing about that, but this year we are so close to starting the LCI project, and there's $320,000 funded for LCI completion in this budget. It is a balanced budget. It has to be legally. $10,364,300 revenues and expenditures. There have been some municipal court salary adjustments. They have not had salary adjustments in quite some time. There is for this year, Brian Arrington is our PIO. Last year we didn't have a full year's budget for the public information officer. This year it's in there. He has his own line items. Winter-related equipment. Everybody knows we had a lot of issues this winter. This budget in CapEx takes care of winter-related equipment. We had to do everything by hand in Public Works this year. In January and February, the two inclement weather events we had. Next year, we won't have to do that. We will have a spreader, we'll have a scrape blade, we'll be able to be much more efficient and be out there. I think it's a wise investment, as well as we'll have a couple of extra four-wheel drive vehicles in the police department. Public Works street resurfacing. I know people love seeing good asphalt in front of their homes. It increases property value. It certainly makes a big difference in the city. We budgeted $653,000 for street resurfacing this year, which is an increase over last year. And as I said, I think it's important to know that no millage increase is planned for in this budget. Just a couple of other just a breakdown of our departments, I just want to point out a couple of things. If you look at admin, you see an increase there. That's because that full year PIO is in that area, is in that division. A couple other things. Parks and Recreation went up from 694 to 739. We opened Cotter Field last year. We are about to, in the next month, we'll open bids on a softball complex, replacing our one field with two. When you add fields and you add lighting, you have utilities, you have field maintenance, you have chemicals that are needed. That increase is accounted for in the Parks and Rec budget. Planning and Development, revenues are always hard to come by in budgets. One revenue that we found out we're eligible for is called a 3% rental vehicle excise tax. The county has been collecting that because we did not have that in our ordinances. The mayor and council approved that a couple of months ago. July 1, we'll start collecting that 3% rental vehicle excise tax. And if it's on the revenue side, it's got to be in the expenditure side. So this is the division we placed it in, Planning and Development, because it's got to be earmarked for marketing, tourism type related endeavors, expenditures. And just the Planning and Development is where Eric Van Otteren's budget is, Economic Development. They work closely with the DDA. The DDA is working on a master signage, wayfinding signage plan. I anticipate that a lot of that money will go to offset the costs of implementing that plan. So that's why it's in that division, and that's why that Planning and Development division has gone up. CapEx went a little bit down, but you can see the bottom line of $10,364,300. As I said, a 1.1% increase. Our capital expenditures, you can see Public Works. We had to delay the purchase of a dump truck last year because of a bidding error. You can see the winter preparation, $14,500 for equipment to be attached to that new dump truck. You can see winter vehicles in police department takes care of that. We will be video cameras. Those are cameras for the cars and 2 body cameras. Erica, the next page. Once again, this is the location for the QOL demolition. And I want to say something about the HVAC control system. We have a lot of issues in this building and in the senior center with HVAC. When these buildings were built, we didn't get a very good system. This is for a new control system that is not proprietary. It's something that we'll have control over, and I would have to say that $75,000 will probably be recovered over about 4.5 years in utility savings. It's something that we really need to do. It makes our environmental footprint less, if you will. It's a wise thing to do efficiency-wise. 2 other quick items. Sanitation review. These are enterprise funds. These funds are kept separate from the general fund. But I think it's important to know, if you look down at the very bottom line, that general fund subsidy needed, $432,422. That's the total cost to the sanitation fund of sanitation pickup, commercial and residential. We make money because we bill on commercial. Everybody here who's in the city knows you don't get a sanitation bill for household garbage. It's a service that we provide, but we have to fund it somehow, and it gets funded through our sanitation budget, which is in Public Works. The final item is stormwater. Stormwater utility started about 4 years ago. It has picked up steam. Gay will tell you that our projects have grown and grown, not only regular maintenance projects, which you call in and give us a work order on, but also our emergency projects. We had one of those last year, one the year before, and are about to start on another one. So you can see that we start out in last year's budget, we had about $900,000 left. Projecting over the course of this year and next year, we're looking at the end of the fiscal year, 6/30/15, we're down to about $454,000. We have the lowest stormwater utility fee anywhere. But it's something that we're gonna do about $838,000 worth of projects. We wanna hear from you on those. We think we do a good job. We have a jet vac truck, which we purchased, last year. It's helping push those work orders down. So we feel like we're good guardians of your stormwater utility fee. But that basically hits the high points in the budget, and I am recommending mayor and council approval, for the FY15 budget in the amount of $10,364,300.
Thank you. Are there questions? I have two. Looking on page 15, I don't know if you have the line item in front of you. There's two capital improvement projects in this year's budget that we have not purchased yet. It's actually the first two, the police video cameras, I think those are the outside surveillance cameras, and the police intox. And so they weren't purchased this year, and they're not carried over to next year. Are we doing away with those?
I am trying to find a way to be able to, we had a bidding issue on the video cameras, not the video cameras, the security camera system. I'm trying to find a way to carry that money over, so we can rebid, because we just had one bidder, and it really was a non-responsive bid.
So does that not need to be included in this year's, in this fiscal year 2015 budget?
It may have to take place in a budget amendment. I'm working with the auditor to try to find a way to do that.
And then what about I'm assuming that's intoxilizers, the $9,000?
Yes, we
Chief,
received
it was purchased? Okay, it just hasn't shown up in the April report yet.
I
Okay.
think the paperwork just came in last week.
Okay. Other questions?